Welcome back, trackside, once again. Race fans here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Tonight, the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series fires things off for race number 2 here in round number 1. Drivers chasing after that season championship, just a handful of weeks remain in front of these field of drivers. Who's gonna claim their fame here tonight in the Twisted 200 live from Kansas Speedway? How you doing? How you feeling out there in TV land, race fans? Glad you could all join us here tonight. As always, Dave of the Cave bringing you all the calls from trackside. Speaking of trackside, nice little breeze for the fans in the stands, but the track temperature over 105 degrees. We're going to check in on your Premier Racing setup qualifying session, see who's top of the speed charts, and for the moment, quick time belongs to the 28 at the front of the field. Fast Camry here tonight in the Heartland. Heinzman gonna go quick time with a 30.83. Provisional pole positioned for the moment for that 28. Jerry Isaacs gonna need to pick up a little bit of pace if he's gonna want to repeat last week's race winning performance from Auto Club Speedway to open up the championship chase and start his journey towards the season crown. That's gonna do it. 15 drivers in the field here tonight, 13 gonna lay down a time lap, and Heinzman will bring us to the green flag. With that being said, we're going to step away for a brief commercial break and trackside for your national anthem. We'll be right back with your starting lineup. Don't go anywhere, race fans. We'll be right back.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And off of pit road, we roll ready to go here tonight as they work their way off a 2 down the backstretch. Starting lineup looks a little something like this inside row number 1. Your Premier Racing setup pole award winner here tonight, Cody Heinzman, followed by Cody Richardson. Dan Keene, Curry Sherman back in row 2 with Bowman and Koska in row number 3. Christian Delgado and Jerry Isaacs, row number 4. Finishing out row number 5 in your top 10, Mike Donahue and Judd Danielson. Dave Gainforth and Ken Lung back in row number 6. Finishing out the field here tonight, Stephen Music, Dave Sanders, and Chris Letts. Let's get ready to fire them off. Music gonna fade away, and green flag flies for the first time here tonight from Kansas Speedway. The majority of this field were down in that sub 31.5 second mark, so look for tonight's race to be fast-paced action here. Heinzman looking to step away, running to the high line for the moment. Down on the bottom of the racetrack, Richardson digging, Sherman and Keene switching and swapping. That third and fourth position, Gary Bowman gonna stay in that fifth spot. Delgado up one position here on lap number 1. Field spreading out just a little bit. Let's see if we can get a little better look as the runners continue to chase after your pole sitter here tonight, down through 3 and 4. And it looks like we've got a split. It looks like for the majority of the part here tonight, it looks like we have a split almost right down the middle. Drivers at the top, drivers on the bottom. Heading into these banked corners back at the high side, looks like more drivers beating to migrate to that top. You can see still down there on the bottom of the racetrack. I believe that's going to be the 13 sheet of Christian Delgado. Yes, it is. Let's take a look. Here is Delgado continues to try to catfish one of the few drivers that has been down on the bottom every single lap so far. I know it's still early lap number 4 on the board. A lot of these guys slowly starting to move on. Well, the racetrack just a little bit, and already you can see the 13 opening up that entry just a little bit. A little further on back, Andrew Koska trying to make some headway. There you can see the 86 machine lost 4 positions on the start. Dropped 4 in these opening 4 laps. That's got to be tough. Take a look at the West Virginia sponsored 77 of Dave Sanders at the top of the racetrack. Sanders trying to hold off Gainforth behind the fast forward Spam Mustang. Looking to make some headway early here tonight with the Twisted 200. So it's lap number 5 coming to a close. We're going to go ahead and drop that tiny and score on the left-hand side of your screen. Let you find and follow along with your favorite driver in the field here tonight. Check out that Champagne Level 1 machine. Looking to make some headway here tonight. Looking good, looking good. Picking up one spot from where he qualified. Still a long way to go for that 37. We'll see how the rest of the night pans out for him. There you can see that a Bruzy Racewear number 29 machine piloted by Judd Danielson. And Danielson, one of your non-chase drivers in the field here tonight. We're joined by a handful of non-chase drivers, 3 championship contenders not in the field here tonight. We're going to have to check to see if they do have those provisional slots taken up for them. Because things getting heated here. We've got tonight's race, and then we're going to finish off round number 1 next week at Gateway. That's going to be a crazy race to make your way into the Championship 8, the Great 8, as we like to call it here with the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series. Still a lot of side-by-side action early here from Kansas. Let's go back up here. Second and third going at Sherman and Richardson. Richardson going to give up the position. Sherman going to work that high side. You can see that 6 really likes to be on the high side of the racetrack. We haven't really seen him venture to the bottom Everybody's doing it on the through the triangle, so we're not going to count that. But there you can see back to that mid-high lane. Corner retreat, turns 1 and 2, laying it out. If somebody doesn't lay something out, that NOS Energy drink number 28 machine is going to absolutely begin to walk away. Already opening up a half a second advantage. Jerry Isaacs now on the move. Check out Isaacs on the bottom of the racetrack with 51 up 5 spots. Lap number 10 goes on the board. Drivers through 1 and 2. Everybody chasing after your pole sitter. Still your race leader out front. Cody Hines shows way Corey Sherman right there sitting in third, battling to keep that second spot. You can see those Madsen teammates ganging up on the field bottom of the racetrack. 1, 2, 3 count in a row. My goodness. And the bottom paying off now for the tag team duo heading to the front. Isaacs and Richardson migrate to the bottom of the racetrack. And it looks like Isaacs has found some speed. Richardson trying to just stay right in his tire tracks, trying to follow that teammate along. I mean, let's be honest here. Isaacs with 2 race wins so far this season, 1 coming as we opened up the championship chase last week from Auto Club. If you gotta follow in line, not a bad pick to follow. Gonna have some struggles here, and it looks like Richardson gonna give up a handful more positions as he's stuck at the bottom of the racetrack, and he is being freight trained on the top. 08 gonna pick up a position as the 13 tries to do the same. Dan Keen's got that GoPro. 85 machine linked up here tonight, top side of the racetrack, looking for 1 more position. And it is all types of a hornet's nest right here. I promise you. Do you got the onboard? There's the onboard. Looking inside, the man behind the wheel, putting it working, really working the throttle. Seeing someone on the wheel. Let's take a look up at the tail end. Corey Sherman's number 6 machine looking back at a very hungry field here. The 46 machine still right here trying to get in and get back to where he was. No troubles here. We apologize, that's the 64, looking at it backwards. Interesting. A little bit of contact for Sherman with the outside wall. A little bit of trouble there, working their way out of turn number 4 and across the start-finish line through the triangle. We'll go side by side, 3 rows deep. Through 1 and 2, your top 2. Oh my goodness. Richardson didn't really thread the needle, but you might as well call it there. Tiptoeing through the tulips, man. My gosh. Slight contact with the outside wall for the 13. That's going to put him meet in the middle. 3 wide for a moment through the triangle. Everybody going to sort that out. Driver's going to stay clean and green here tight. The lap 16 goes on the board. And after Heinzman's been able to get that half a second lead, I'm not quite sure if he's managing the gap right now. I know we're still only 16 laps into tonight's 134 lap race. 200 miles of racing action here from Kansas Speedway in the Twisted 200 for the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series. Still a very long way to go. But it's never too early to manage the gap, to manage the race, the pace, the tires, the fuel consumption. All of that can be dictated at any given time, and it's never too early to stop. Oh, Sherman might be in trouble here. 1, 2, 3, make that 4. 5 drivers going to make their way by as Corey Sherman going to have a dust up with the outside wall. Now Dan Keene seems to be stuck in the middle of the racetrack, splitting on the high side. 13 of Delgado going to pick up a position, as well as Andrew Costco down on the bottom of the racetrack. Costco, one of the drivers, we haven't brought you your season championship standings just yet. We'll get to some of that official business later on tonight, but tonight a very pivotal moment for a lot of these championship drivers. Tonight can either lock you in or keep you out. It looks like, unfortunately, missing tonight's race. Jared Camilli out of the championship hunt, out of the championship chase, came into tonight's race sitting in 12th in that championship standings, and Camilli will not be at the track here tonight, unfortunately. Missing tonight's race, that's going to put him further behind the 8-ball, and he will be our first officially eliminated driver from this season championship chase. We were talking about Andrew Koska. He's right there on screen. Can we get a little closer, guys? Can we zoom in on him for a second? No, not King Koska. Right there. There you go, guys. Appreciate it. Big thumbs up to everybody over here listening to what I want and getting it done. We appreciate that. Koska coming into tonight's race just 15 points out of the overall points lead, but sitting 1 point below the cutoff line. Dave Gainforth, somewhat that bubble driver coming into tonight's race. He's sitting as that cutoff driver. But Christian Delgado, he's only 3 points to the good. Delgado running with the top 5. Koska looking to gain a top 5. There he goes. He's going to make his way by. Gainforth, where's he at? He's back at 14th. That 101, he's going to have to find some speed behind the wheel of that Spam Ford Mustang. Work his way up through this field if he can. Corey Sherman, he's having a pretty solid night. Qualified in 4th, running in 8th. He's one of the championship drivers you gotta look out for as well. So there's gonna be a lot going on. Very fluid championship chase. So we're gonna watch these guys as they throw haymakers at each other all night long, jockeying for position, because every point counts when you go championship racing. And speaking of every point counting, one point out from that championship 8. We're going to harp on this 86 for just a moment while we keep him on screen, battling with Jerry Isaacs, who's kind of fallen from grace. Isaacs shot up through the field all the way to 2nd, made a run at Heisman, has since dropped all the way back, now running in 5th, looking like he's losing a little pace on the long run. Back to the point with Koska. 3 wins. 3 wins. 3 of them. 3. 1, 2, 3. That's right, the number after 2 and right before 4. 3 wins this season for Koska. And here he is in the final 8 weeks of the season, and he finds himself on the outside looking in at chasing after that championship trophy. Then we look at a driver that's not in the field here tonight. It's going to affect his championship standings, but Ed Jurgen coming into tonight's race, no race wins this season, sitting in 5th in the championship standings. Consistency king. Consistency is key in championship. When it comes to championship time, consistency matters, but you may need to rely on a race win. Jerry Isaacs, he can throw caution to the wind here tonight. Last week's race winner, he's got a little bit of a buffer. He doesn't have to worry about tonight's race. Doesn't really have to worry about what goes on next week at Gateway. So Isaac's one of the ones we're going to watch out for. Could this fall back through the field be a fuel strategy situation. We're gonna eyeball that as the rest of the ride continues. Let's watch the battle unfold here. One of their closest battles on the track. Dan King, Christian Delgado going at it. 6th and 7th on the racetrack. There you can see Corey Sherman. He stopped the bleeding, but Sherman falling from 2nd all the way back to 8th. So here, let me ask let me ask you this, let me ask myself this. Has Sherman really dropped that far? Take a look at Jerry Isaacs, that 51 machine across the line this time by Sherman. Isaacs gonna fall back to that 6th position. Was up there running in 2nd, picked up 5-6 positions at one point in time, now down to just 2 spots forward from where he qualified in 7th. Ooh, getting dicey on the backstretch. Entering 3, Isaac's gonna be put in the middle. There is a lot going on here early from Kansas Speedway in the Twisted 200. Want to give a big shout out to Premier Racing Center coming on, sponsoring the qualifying and pole session to here this season. The longest running setup makers for iRacing.com, the world's #1 racing simulator. If you want to do racing right, you gotta get right here on iRacing.com. If you're looking for the competitive edge over your fellow drivers, head on over to PremierRacingSetups.com. They have something for every machine you can think of on the platform in service, whether it's these NASCAR style machines, whether it's the open wheel modifieds, whether it's the dirt track side of things. They got it all. They've got your rally trucks as well as IndyCar. Check them on out. Gain a couple tenths, gain a few hundreds, whatever it is, they can give you a little bit more at PremierRacingSetups.com. So with some sponsor shout-outs out the way, let's transition back to the battles on the racetrack. Isaac, Sherman, Sanders, and Long, all right here, lined up with each other, almost nose to tail. As we head back through 3 and 4, lap number 33, gonna go on the board. Drivers quickly closing in on that 100 to go threshold. But more importantly, drivers starting to close in on green flag pit stops. A little bit of trouble with the outside wall. We've seen a little bit of smoke last time around. Like a little bit of contact for Isaacs with that outside wall. Let's head back to the front. We've got a battle between Bowman and Richardson. 2nd and 3rd going at it. How about this Blackstone 08 up 3 positions from 5th to 2nd? Looks like he's got the setup for the long haul. Didn't really fire off quick when we went green flag racing here tonight from Kansas Speedway, but he has since methodically picked up those positions. Hasn't put the car in danger. A nice, smooth, consistent laps. We're going to look at last time around 30-30 for your race leader, 30-37 for Gary Bowman. So he's just a 10th off. But he gave up a little bit of time before he got to that 2nd place. He got a little bit of clean air on the nose of that Blackstone Chevy. Camaro sitting in 2nd, Richardson back to 3rd, now dropping pace just a little bit. We've got drivers to pit road. Chris Lutz and Stefan Busick gonna pull to pit lane. Richardson wave down pit road this time around. So our first driver inside of our top 5 will hit pit road. The 64 of Cody Richardson needs to get tires and fuel. Heinzman almost in a different area code already. Out front, nothing to worry about. Big gap out back, 1.3 in climbing. as Heisman and Bowman both going to stay out once again. Let's go back to the battles, guys. We got some more battles to show. Let's show some of these battles as Jerry Isaacs pulls to pit road this time around. One of your closest battles on the field. Christian Delgado, Dan King going to go at it, 4th and 5th on the racetrack. A little bit of trouble for the 65. They've got the hood raised on Chris Lentz's Camaro. Looking over the engine, and we're not seeing some good signs. They got the pin to checking the heads. Yeah, it looks like they're gonna put up 3 fingers. Looks like 3 cylinders down, and they're gonna drop the hood. Engine has been cut off, and Chris Lentz will go behind the wall early here tonight in the Twisted 200. So one driver already out of tonight's race as Danielson, Donahue, and King head to pit lane. So the round of green flag pit stops really kicked off with Cody Richardson, first driver inside of the top 5 to head down pit road. That was back at lap number 35. We're pushing for maybe 5 laps further here. Will this come back into play a little later on here tonight? Green flag runs are going to compound the tire difference. Possibly open up bigger gaps after the round of green flag pit stops are over. It could bring us a handful of battles as we continue here tonight. Looking at the lap times, at a second faster is Richardson. Last time around, race leader Cody Heisman with a 32.34. Richardson 31.34. So dead on, a 1 second faster. Lap time. We're going to continue to watch those lap times. Heisman 32.33 this time around. We'll see where Richardson goes. And there it is again. A second faster to the 1,000. 31.33.337. So with the early pit stops, are drivers working the race backwards? Are the drivers that have been to pit road, are they working the fuel strategy backwards? As soon as the fuel window opened, they came to pit road. Are they working this thing backwards, or are they just looking for a big undercut, looking for a big advantage as these drivers continue to stay out on the racetrack? 32.44 for Heisman. Richardson with a 31.52, so just under that 1 second difference this time, but still losing a ton of time right now. Let's get to one of the battles on the racetrack a little further back than Dan Keenan. Let's take a look at Ken Monk, top of the racetrack, trying to pick up a position on Corey Sherman. Sherman started in 4th, got to 2nd, has since dropped 2 spots, now a 3rd, sitting in 7th. The 31.14 last time by for Isaacs. My God. That is almost a 1.5 seconds faster than Heisman. But I'm telling you, Richardson able to get himself back onto the lead lap is going to be very key. Can he do it? Let's go take a look. Let's check in as we've got drivers to pit road. 37. No, not gonna make it. That is gonna cost him big. One gonna drop G through the field now, missing the entry to pit road. Locked him up, realized he was gonna get a penalty, and wisely gets back out on the racetrack. He is gonna lose a ton of time here, but let's check out Richardson. How quickly can he get himself back on the lead lap? And there it is. He's going to work his way back on the lead lap as Heinzman, Bowman, Casca, and Delgado with Sherman to pit road this time around. So for the first time here tonight, Dan King going to take over the race lead. He's going to be the newest leader, the only other leader we've seen here tonight. Will the gap that Heinzman had, will it be enough to get him back out on the racetrack, out in front of Cody Richardson, staying out almost 10 laps longer? And Dan Keene, he wants nothing to do with it. Keene gonna head to pit road, trying to minimize the time lost, but we're looking as Sanders pulls that West Virginia 77 machine down pit road, and here it is. Man, wait till you see the gap. We know that we know the difference, right? We understand that this time was made up on the fresh tires by Richardson, while Heinzman and the rest of the field were staying out on those much older tires. But look what it's done to Heinzman's run. Heinzman now all the way back in the third position. Jerry Isaacs making his way by as well. But look at the lead that it has given Richardson. 8.8 second advantage over the dominating car over that first green flag run. Cody Heinzman has got a workload in front of him now. And you know, I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing the potential for a two-stop strategy. Heinzman, Bowman, Delgado, they were able to make it 45 laps on the fuel. They probably wanted tires well before that lap 45. So if they stick to the fuel strategy, that's going to put them back on the pit road somewhere around lap 90, 91. Another 45 from there. That's right. That's going to put them right on the cusp of that lap 134 mark. So could we see drivers these drivers attempt that two-stop race? As some of the field looks like they got a three-stop plan right from the get-go. Heinzman making some headway. Isaacs dropping back, losing that second spot. And Heinzman right to the top of the racetrack. That NOS Energy Toyota Camry. The Chevy Camry and the Toyota Camaro. My goodness, Dave. And quickly doing away with Isaacs. Against that, that's what 9 laps difference on the tires looks like. Right there, I mean, quickly gonna do away with Isaacs and quickly but put a second between them. Still over 7.5 seconds to go to run down Richardson at the front. Will Heinzman be able to do it before Richardson has to hit pit road? This is going to be the telltale sign on whether or not this two-stop strategy is going to truly work, right? Because if Richardson can keep this race lead, he's going to pit from the front, which means when Isaacs, or I apologize, when Heinzman comes back down pit road for his second stop, he's going to lose even more time. It's going to be a 10, 12 second difference, and that could be the complete difference in tonight's race. Small gaps through the front of the field. Let's head back to some of the action here on the racetrack. And there you can see Dave Gainforth trying to close in on the 70 of Mike Donahue's, who is up 2 positions from where he qualified, gained 4th, finally starting to make some headway. He's got that spam sponsored 101 Ford Mustang inside of the top 10, now sitting in the 8th position, up 3 spots from where he qualified. The Brucey number 29 of Danielson right behind him. With a safe gap back, you can all but pretty much guarantee these guys going to stay inside of the top 10, barring any catastrophes or troubles. Pit road may be a hot spot. We're going to keep our eye on drivers coming down pit road. We're going to keep an eye on the pit road police. We've seen a little bit of trouble from a handful of drivers getting onto pit road. Let's see how that continues to play out here tonight. Danielson going to go to the bottom of the racetrack as they close in on Donahue. 29 will take the position from gain 4th, who falls back to 9th. Let's go a little further. Let's go back to the front. As Gary Bowman starting to close in on Isaacson. I think this is going to be a short-lived battle. Race fans is about 9 laps difference on these tires, and there it is quickly. To the bottom of the racetrack in around the 51, halfway down the backstretch, heading into 3, give 3rd to Bowman. So as we'll look for that, oh wait, 2-step away, let's head back to the other battle on the track, one of our only other battles on the racetrack, to be a matter of fact. Well, let's take a look at this 29 and 101. Have at it for a handful of laps here. Let's see how they go. Let's take a look on board with that 29. Danielson, there you can see it switching from 5th to 4th into the corner. Something these Gen 6 cars lend their hands to, a lot more shifting opportunities, even at these miles and a half. You can see him in 4th this time, into 3. He's going to keep it in 4th. Bottom of the racetrack, here comes Dave Gainforth, looking for position, had to feather the throttle a little bit. And doesn't go to 5th this time. He's going to wind down the gears. You can see it turn a little red for a moment there on that digital dashboard. We'll see if he switches to 5th this time. No, and he's just going to stay on the chip. Lift a little bit early, get back on the gas. Great little strategy here. Let's take a look at Gary Bowman. What's Bowman doing? Very different approach. You can see him running in that 5th gear here, down into the corner. Will we hear the downshift? No, he's going to keep it in 5th. Looks like he wants to run it in high gear here tonight. The Blackstone 08 Chevy Camaro sits in 3rd. So we'll jump back outside of the car and back around the racetrack to a little bit of the battles, trying to highlight a handful of drivers. What happened to Andrew Koska? I'll tell you. Speeding onto pit road, Andrew Koska gonna get popped by the pit road police. Man. Championship contender, now with trouble. He's gonna have to find a way, not only to get himself back on the lead lap, but all the way back through the field. He may be praying for some trouble here, or hoping maybe some of his fellow competitors enter a little hot. Maybe they exit a little too quickly. Going to look for some drivers and have some trouble here tonight as well. Andrew Koska may be looking at a very tough situation heading in to Gateway for the final race in the opening round for the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series Championship chase. We've still got more than 65, 70 laps worth of racing here tonight from Kansas Speedway. You're watching the Twisted 200. Watching the battle unfold between Dave Gainforth, Judd Danielson. There's Dave Sanders just off in the distance. Corey Sherman lap down, but he's starting to make some headway. He's got some fresher tires. Look for Sherman to make a few moves. Tell you what, let's go back up here. Let's go back inside of the top five. Jerry Isaacs holding the fourth down, sitting in that fifth position, but the GoPro 85 of Dan King, hot on the trail, looking for the position he's going to drop to the bottom of the racetrack. There it is. Big move made. And King claims fifth. I want to transition back to the front though. Let's revisit the front of this field. Cody Richardson made the jump to pit road early back on lap number 35. 10 laps sooner than Cody Heinzman, your pole sitter. You're the man that led every lap leading up to that round of green flag pit stops. Over an 8-second advantage was gained, only has given about half of that up. And with the possibility of Richardson holding true to that 35-lap fuel run, he's right around the corner from heading back down pit road. So, oh man, if you come on lap 75 or lap 70, or thereabout, you're gonna have to make that third stop, right? You're not gonna be able to do it from 2 stops anywhere shy of lap 180. If you can't make it to lap 80, you're not going to make it to the end on a 2 stop. So, some very key points right here coming up over these next handful of laps. I think it's a tall task to ask. I don't think Richardson is going to be able to continue to stay out long enough to make this his second and final green flag stop. I think Heinzman may be able to save a little bit of fuel here. He does have about a 2-second advantage back to Gary Bowman, who is on the same tire and fuel strategy, along with that 13 of Christian Delgado. Jerry Isaacs to pit road. Here comes Richardson to pit lane as well. Race lead gonna go back to Cody Heinzman. Front of the field will cross the line. Back to the point once again. Your premier racing setup. Award-winning NOS Energy sponsored 28 machine. Back to the point once again. Bowman gonna move to second with Delgado in third. Keen in fourth. And all of it can be thrown away, right? Race fans, we talk about execution a lot. We talk about consistency. We talk about the concentration, the mental game. You can hear me. We're not going to give it away just yet. If you're out there in TV land and you're joining us and you're watching, listen to the sounds and you can figure out what's going down on the track right now by your race leader. He may be trying to extend this little bit of a run. Give up that time knowing he's not going to have to come back down pit road. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Danielson and Donahue to pit lane this time by. And we're going to give it away. You can hear him clutching. He's clutching. He is saving fuel. How much fuel does he need as a key, though? Because you know he was pushing hard to try to close that gap, to try to minimize the time. Oh my goodness. Minimize the time lost between the pit stops, right? He's got the fresh tires now, so now is the time to go. So how far will Heinzman try to stretch this? We're eyeballing that lap number 90, so about 15 laps from now is what we're thinking. Right, but another 15 laps from now, I don't know that he's got another 15 in the tank. Richardson, fastest lap of the race, a sub 31 second time now turned in by that 64. He is turning up the heat as we turn down the lap count. Over the halfway point here tonight, we have been clean and green all night long so far here. 2 rounds of green flag pit stops heavily underway. Only 5 drivers remain on the lead lap, but those 5 drivers still have to hit pit road. Look, last week, Jerry Isaacs was able to pull the wool over our eyes with, I believe it was a 1-stop race. 2-stop race, I apologize, at Auto Club. He is definitely on a 3-stop strategy here tonight. Could we see a turning of the tables? Could we be witnessing a changing of the guard, a flip-flop on the strategy? It's easy to say because he's out front, but I think this is the man we're going to have to watch for. He's been the dominant car. He doesn't have the fastest lap of the race. He has one of the fastest laps, 31:01. There's only one driver with a faster time, and that is Cody Richardson with the fastest lap of the race, that 30:99. So just not even a full 10th faster, just a couple hundredths of a second faster. But I think Heinzman's got the pace. I think he has the strategy. He's got to make it about at least another 9 laps to give it a shot, to have an opportunity or a chance. He does have some ground still that he can give up. Still a 2-second gap back to that 08 of Gary Bowman. So he's got some time to give up on the track, but what he can't do is that man that's closing in behind him right here. There he is. Cody Richardson. Gonna move his way by. Richardson gonna put himself back on the lead lap. And why is that key? Because the first time he had that 8-second advantage, he wasn't able to unlap himself until your race leader came to pit road. He's already looking like he's going to have to make an extra stop at least for a splash of fuel. Even if he's not going to get tires, he's going to need at least a splash of fuel to get to the end. So that pass and the gap that you see him now building is just going to multiply itself when that 28 heads to pit road. And the longer he waits, the bigger the gap that Richardson will pile on. He's got to make up a full lap. Let's look at it this way, race fans. A pit stop is going to cost you about 43 seconds. On and off pit road, we can cut that down to about 30 seconds, 35 seconds. With just a fuel-only stop, you're going to have to spend about 35 seconds on and off pit road. So Richardson is almost got to get a full lap in front of Heinzman for this three-stop strategy to work. I think it's gonna be close. I honestly think it's gonna be close. But it's all of a matter of how conservative or aggressive is this 28 when he does come to pit road. Working lap 85 now out of the 134 scheduled in tonight's Twisted 200 live here from Kansas Speedway. We have been clean and green all night long from opening flag to now. No slow down here tonight for these Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series drivers. And this ain't the first time. If you want to run with some of the best in the business, head on over to the Cyber Thunder League directory. You can find them over there on iRacing.com. Get linked up with one of the admins and officials with the league. These guys, top notch. Week after week. If we could pull the stats, do we got those stats somewhere? I'm sure we got them somewhere. We're going to make sure we have them for you next week. But I have got to say, just going off of the top of my head, these guys average one or less cautions for the season. They've had multiple weeks of flag-to-flag racing of no cautions. Looking like that's going to be the way it may play out here tonight for race number 2 and round 1. The championship chase this season. Who's going to claim the crown? Here in America's heartland, the Twisted 200 all of the way. No battles to bring you, so we're going to keep it right here for the moment. You can still hear your race leader. Definitely saving fuel, and you know what? We're going to give you a little look inside the cockpit. We might catch a little bit of flack here, but how much fuel is he truly saving? It there it is, definitely clutching for at least half of the corner. Very easily, very gingerly back on the throttle. You can see all the way down there next to the grass. And again, just floats that thing down into the corner, lets it roll without any power, brings it back into gear, lets the car settle down, light on the throttle once again, tiptoeing here tonight. Top of the racetrack. Race leader, pole sitter, Cody Heinzman continues out on the racetrack. We're going to put lap number 90 on the board this time around. Gary Bowman, he's had enough. The 08 Blackstone sponsor Chevy Camaro going to head to pit road for what should be his final stop of the night, and with 45 laps to go. That's going to put Bowman right on that 45 lap strategy mark. If he comes down pit road this time by the 28, he's going to have simply a 1 lap buffer. We'll see if he's able to keep it there, but the big thing is going to be this. Where is that 64 of Richardson? He is on a tear. Dan Keene Gonna take the race lead, become a new race leader here once again. Out front, showing the way, the 85 GoPro Chevy Camaro gonna show the way. And guess who is going to claim the second spot? Cody Richardson is going to claim that second spot. You can see now that gap, that difference, that deficit is going to be huge. Dan Keene to pit road. Cody Richardson will reclaim this race lead. Man, this is going to get exciting. It's going to get fun at the end. I think both of these strategies are very good strategies, but I think they're going to come together right at the end. But my money is banking on that 28. We're going to let it unfold here. And the biggest thing right now is let's take a look. Where is Heinzman? How far back is he? He is only 18 seconds back. I don't think that's enough for Richardson to come get a splash of fuel and get back out there and be able to keep pace with Heinzman. So when it's all said and done, I think Heinzman's going to reclaim this race lead. It's going to be a close battle as Gary Bowman was to pit road one lap sooner. Closed in the fight right here. Let's take a look here. We've got lap traffic involved as well. So as drivers make their way down the backstretch, you can see everybody starting to sort themselves out now, heading down into turn number 3. We roll. Almost up at that 100 lap threshold. Drivers are gonna really start eyeballing, maintaining gaps, maintaining pressure, maintaining focus. You gotta stay focused. The mental game here in racing is a huge aspect. You gotta be mentally tough as well as physically capable of taking the temperatures and heats as well as the G-forces over and over for minutes and hours on end. You can see that 08 quickly gonna drop to the bottom of the racetrack. He's gonna make short work of all 3 of those drivers and move that over into 3rd, and Bowman start to close in on Heinzman. Jerry Isaac starting to lose a little bit of ground to your 2nd and 3rd place runners. I don't think that 51 has that speed. I don't think the 51 quite has the magic that he had last week at Auto Club. Unfortunately, I don't think he's got the race running car. He tried to have a little look on strategy. Unfortunately, I don't think it's panned out and paid off. And Isaacs will have to hit pit road for 3rd time here tonight before getting to the end of tonight's race. So we'll see how far back he slides, as well as your race leader. How far will the fall from grace be from Richardson? 40 plus laps on fuel, 45 laps on fuel. Richardson to pit road on lap number 70. That's going to put him to pit road right about lap 110. And I just don't, with less than 30 to go, I don't think you have enough time to regain the time. I don't think you're going to have enough real estate left in the race to recover what you're going to need. I think it's a hell of a strategy. I think it's going to be very close at the end, but I'm going to stick with my gut feeling. I'm going to stick with what I've seen on paper through happy hour, through qualifying, through the vast majority of tonight's race. This NOS Energy Drink number 28 machine, he has been the measuring stick. And I expect to see him in victory lane for the first time this season, but could Gary Bowman, and yeah, we're going to steal it, could he be the showman tonight and spoil the party and secure his spot in round 2 of the championship chase? Keep in mind, if you're a championship contender, you win tonight, you are safe into round 2. So there's a lot on the line. It's not just the pride of getting to victory lane finally. It's the pride of moving on. And Cody Richardson, he's going to pull the trigger a little bit earlier. He's going to head to pit road this time around. It's going to give him about 11 lap fresher tires, but man, even with over a 10-second advantage before he headed down pit road, you could already see him back up to speed. He was able to keep himself on the lead lap, barely. And I do say barely, by about 2 to 3 seconds. Can we get a look out of one of the cockpits of the drivers that are on the front stretch, please? Do we have a driver? We're gonna go on board with Gary Bowman. It looks like we've got our Chevy Camaro on board cam here, and then we can see Richardson. That's what we were talking about. He was able to stay on the lead lap. Very important for this 3 strategy to have a shot. But 29 seconds back. 30, gonna give us 31 laps to go this time around as Heinzman crosses the line. So a little less than a second a lap needed. It's a lot to ask. He did pick up 4 fresh tires, so he is gonna have some speed advantage. I'm not sure it's gonna be. I'm just telling you how I see it. I can't say I'm telling you like it is because we don't know how it is. We don't know how it's going to finish out, and that's why we race it out, right? Week in, week out. If I already knew who was going to win, there'd be no point in racing it, right? But the gap is dissipating quickly. Already this time by the time Race Leader gets back to the line, it's going to be under 28 seconds. Let's take a look at the stopwatch this time around. Race Leader going to cross the line. 31:70. Cody Richardson last time around, 30:97. Almost at that 1 second threshold, so he's right there. If he can keep the pace, if he can continue this way all the way to the end of tonight's race, it may be a little closer than what I was even thinking it was going to be. I got this thing finishing with Richardson making a hell of a run at the end and getting back into a podium spot. He's sitting in that 5th position right now. With about, looks to be, what's that going to be, about a 12-second difference to Delgado. Once he gets to Christian Delgado, that's when there's smoke in the city. That's when your top 3 better be aware. And we've got some of these drivers inside of your top 5. Heinzman came to pit road back on lap 90. Gary Bowman at lap 89. Dan Keene kept it out one lap longer, lap 91. We are assured that Dan Keene can make it to the end. It starts to get shaky when you get to Delgado and Heinzman. It gets really iffy. But when you get to this 08 Blackstone machine, is he able to save fuel here running behind the NOS Energy 28 machine with a little push from behind? A little help from your friends never hurt anyone. The 77, Camaro of Dave Summers, listed back in 6th. First driver one lap down, but it doesn't look like he's trying any real attempt to get by the two in front of him. Looks like he's content to sit as that first car one lap down in the lucky dog position, looking like maybe a little helping hand from teammates out there. Keep in mind, Bowman, Delgado, Heinzman, all teammates. 3 out of your top 4 are teammates. Will they work together to keep Richardson at bay? With less than 25 to go, Richardson, he's got to turn it up a notch. He's got to turn the heat up a notch. He was only 0.6 of a second faster that last time around. Will the formula work? Will he be able to reel him in? He's slowly but surely doing it. But man. I think it's a huge ask, I really do. But we've seen the near impossible done. We've seen it happen over the course of a handful of races this season. Even last week, with the crazy strategy that benefited him with a race-winning performance. Jerry Isaacs okey-doked the entire field with his strategy last week. The conventional strategy here would tell you, let's go 3 stops. Let's make sure we have enough to get to the end. We don't have to worry about saving fuel. We don't have to worry about nothing. But here we are. 20 to go this time by a big 21. Second advantage over the man with the freshest tires in the field. And I think Heinzman can be pretty content. Right, I think Heinzman can be pretty content just to sit here and steal the spotlight from the championship competitors. Heinzman not one of the drivers involved in the championship chase, but he has been involved with a lot of great racing. Missed out on a handful of weeks, unfortunately did not make that playoff cutoff. Otherwise, I think the field would have to be put on notice here tonight with the dominating performance, outright dominating performance. Richardson still 20 seconds back, cutting into that disadvantage to Delgado, so he is closing in on 4th. He's got to make up it's going to be about 12 seconds to get into a podium position, but can Richardson get it done, man? I'd like to see him be able to kick this strategy into overdrive, be able to kick it in gear. I mean, it's already in gear, but I'd like to see this strategy work out to a podium finish. That way there's no clear-cut winner, right? If he's able to work his way all the way back to the podium, you gotta ask yourself, man, if he drove a little harder. before we come into pit road. Knowing that he's gonna kind of short stint that second stop, or that third run, I should say. Could he have went a little harder, abused the tires a little bit more, and maybe made up that time to make the difference to give him the opportunity to battle for the race lead? It's not a battle for the race lead. It ain't a battle on the lead lap, but let's go back here. Closing in Dave Gainforth. Gonna have to deal with that 37 Mobil 1 machine of Ken Long here in a moment. Battle is on for the final spot inside of the top 10. Fresh gaps all the way through this field. Let's head back out front. Cody Heinzman gonna continue to lead Bowman across the line, and we'll see 15 to go here tonight from Kansas Speedway. So what do you do if you show up and you spoil the show for these championship drivers, right? We've seen stories, we've seen it on Instagram, you've seen it on the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, where, you know, these drivers take their championship trophies to fine dining restaurants, such as Waffle House. Yes, fine dining. You ain't lived life right if you ain't had a Kendall breakfast at the Waffle House. Just saying. So shout out to all my Waffle House people out there in TV land. Never mind, we're just gonna... Moving on. And are the drivers at the front having to save fuel now? You heard them have to save fuel to make it those 45 lap runs. Are they going to have to save fuel at the end of tonight's run? Quickly closing in, 17 seconds back now. 7 seconds back from fourth place runner Delgado. He is closing in. Dan Keene right there. Doesn't look like Keene is really saving any fuel. Bad things getting interesting here. Last time by, still a half a second quicker, but a half a second is not going to get him there. Great racing action all night long here tonight from Kansas Speedway in the Twisted 200. We're going to cross the line with 10 to go. 15 miles of racing remain here tonight in front of these drivers. 200 miles at the start has come down to the final 15. Still closing in slightly is Richardson with those 10 light pressure tires, but I don't think he's going to have the time to get back to the front. The picture's becoming a little bit clearer each and every lap. It doesn't appear that your top two are saving very much fuel at this standpoint and juncture in the race. So with 9 laps to go, I think you lay it all out on the line. You let the chips fall where they may. And then Richardson had a hell of a shot at it. Just wasn't able to produce the right amount of magic. But here's a question. Teammates running 1 and 2 on the racetrack, both with the same tire and fuel strategy tonight. One started on the pole position. One has gained 3 spots to get to second. One of them is a championship contender. One of them is not. With 7 laps to go, could we see possibly some F1-esque type team orders and Bowman to the bottom? Looked like he was looking for the pass, not able to make a move just yet. Maybe trying to get Heinzman looking in the mirror, trying to keep him guessing where is Bowman gonna go. And how, I don't want to say how disheartening is this if you are Heinzman chasing after your first race win of the season, knowing your teammate is trying to take it away. But let's look at that in retrospect. What if you're behind the wheel of that Blackstone 08? You're watching a potential seal your way into round number 2 without having to worry about the finish at Gateway. Slip away to a teammate that is not battling for the championship. It with the high five last time by the boss man of the flag stand, going to signal 5 to go. Teammates still going at it, still unable to make the pass just yet. Bowman gonna try again into 3. This is what Richardson needed. He needed this a little bit earlier. He needed these drivers to start battling so he could close in on the time a little bit quicker. I don't think he's going to work his way back into a podium spot with 4 to go. I think he's just a little too far back. Still just about 12 seconds away from that podium finish. But with 3 to go as we cross the line this time around, we'll end the Twisted 200 in the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series. I just don't think Richardson is going to gain much more. He may pick up 4th from Delgado, but with 3 to go across the stripe, Heinzman driving out the mirror. You want to know what the mirror looks like? We'll give it to you. Let's jump on board. Inside, there you can see. You can see that 08 lurking in that rear view mirror. You can see him showing the bottom to race leader, but it looks like Heinzman has picked up the pace. He's found a little bit more speed as we cross the line, and popsicle sticks go on display. Cody Heinzman looking for his first win of the season, looking to spoil the championship show and grab a trophy away from these championship chase contenders. Back into 3 and 4. Will come across the stripe, and this time by white flag flies. Final lap here tonight in the Twisted 200 for the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series, live here from Kansas Speedway. 200 miles of racing action have all come down to this. Bowman searching the bottom of the racetrack. Nose to tail down the backstretch. 1 car length advantage for Heinzman on the top. Heinzman gonna keep it on the top of the racetrack. Bowman looks but can't get there, and Heinzman will work his way off of 4 for the first time. Into victory lane, walking away with race win number 1 on the season. Job well done to the man behind the wheel of that NOS Energy drink number 28, the Toyota. Claims the crown. The Camry gonna be crowned king. Man, what a job. An amazing job, an amazing strategy, and perfect execution has brought Heinzman to victory lane. So as he enjoys his post-race celebration, gonna let the fans in the stands enjoy the smoke show as well. Burning down my man well earned here tonight from Kansas Speedway. Cody Heinzman gonna walk away with win number 1 this season, and that's gonna set things up for the post-race interviews. We're gonna take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, race fans. We'll be right back. Backtrack side at the conclusion of tonight's Twisted 200 race number 2 in round 1 of the championship chase here with the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series, and we're gonna get right to things. We're gonna dive right into these post-race interviews. Let's see if we can't dial up and have a few words with the man that walked away third here tonight. Let's see if we can't dial him up and get a word or two with the man behind the wheel. Well, looks like we're having a little bit of trouble here with the communications. Let's see if we can't get him this time. Let's see if we can't dial him up behind the wheel of that 85 GoPro machine. Dan, it's Dave. You got a copy?
I got you, Dave.
Man, a heck of a race, first and foremost. Flag-to-flag racing action. How tired are you?
I'm pretty beat after that one. I was telling Gary and Cody that if I'd gotten to him, I don't know if I could have really done much.
Yeah, those guys were a little bit further out there, a little bit further away, a little bit of a tough time for you to close in there. About 2 seconds to make up at the end of tonight's race. Do you think maybe that was a product of staying out that extra lap there before on that final pit stop?
Yeah, I think it was probably the it was probably the first run more than anything. I think I stayed out one, maybe even two extra laps. And then I was just kind of stuck battling with I think it was Delgado most of the first 2 runs, I think. Well, I don't know. They might have been. I don't know if they were battling up front or not, but I feel like that probably cost me a bit of time. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of what you always think what can you do differently after the fact, but I'll take a podium. It's been a few weeks since I've been up here with you.
Yeah, a little bit of a drought for you on the podium interviews, but want to talk about this championship chase standings. You came into tonight's race sitting just outside of the top five. You were only, it looks to be about 4 points out of that overall uh, points lead. Now you're going to head into a very tricky, tough little track next week. Not necessarily locked into round number two. How worried are you about how things are going to shake out next week at a much tougher track when we hit up Gateway?
Um, it's been a while since I've been to Gateway, but I generally feel like I do all right there. It's definitely gonna be tougher. Not really a whole lot of space. I think it's pretty much a single lane, maybe 2 lanes. Um, Maybe there'll actually be some cautions that won't go green. I don't know. Kind of shake things up a little bit, but I think I've learned a little bit here. I think I might that I might be able to take away into next week.
Well, man, it's been a hell of a season for you so far. You're still chasing after that first race win, but you got consistency on your side. You are still pretty much locked into round two, but we can't just quite hand you that ticket just yet. But the championship looks like it's going to continue on for you. So before we let you go here tonight and celebrate this podium, would you like to give any final shout outs, thank yous, love yous, maybe thank anybody back home or at the shop?
Yeah. Thanks as always for the broadcast, and thanks to Madsen and Spartan. Running together, I always just learn. I've learned so much running with those guys these past couple seasons. It's night and day compared to where I was. And thanks to anyone out there watching. I hope it was good for you.
Well, man, I know if they were watching, it was good for them. I had a hell of a time watching it up here. Some great battles all throughout the night, whether it was for that top spot or for a spot inside of the top five. Some great racing action. Hell of a job by you and that GoPro team you got down there on pit road. So we hope the consistency continues, and we'll look forward to catching up with you at Gateway. But until then, my friend, stay safe, and as always, keep it fast.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
All right, there you go. Final few words from the North Carolina kid getting it done, Dan Keene. I'm going to walk away third here tonight from Kansas Speedway, and that's going to move us right across the track. Bumper to bumper, let's take a look at this Blackstone 08 machine piloted by Gary Bowman. Let's see if we can't dial him up and have a few words. Gary, it's Dave. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Dave. How you doing, man? First time here. Good to see you.
Man, I can't complain. You finally made it, and you were close to making it in a big way into these post-race interviews, man. Do you think there's anything you could have done to get that top spot?
I was fighting everything. I went in one lap earlier than Cody for fuel, so I had to play, the fuel and make sure I saved enough there because I ran out on the last lap after the flag, the checkers, and so I was battling that, and then I was battling pushing, but yeah, I tried the last 5 laps. I started downshifting to fourth and trying to get runs on them, but could never just get to them. I couldn't quite get there.
Well, you mentioned it as we came to you first time here in these post-race interviews, at the end of one of these races, but you've been a model of consistency throughout the year, at least in my opinion. You came into tonight's race sitting third in the championship standings, in the chase standings, a second place finish. It's pretty much gonna lock you in. You aren't quite locked into that second round just yet. But a solid top 10 should do the trick next week at Gateway. how are you feeling about your chances to continue on? And what are you thinking about Talladega as we open up round two?
I like the super speedways. You just got to keep your nose clean until the right time and then stick it in there and hope you got friends at the end.
Yeah, you end up with, it's an old Daryl Waltrip saying you end up with frenemies at the end of these things. So all your friends suddenly, with two to go, become your enemies, and you just hope for the best at that
That's
point.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
but to your point, you gotta be there at the end, and the easiest way to do that is to keep it clean throughout the night, have some good pitting partners and some good runs, and just some good drafting. It's always tough to find people that really know how to draft properly and not just slam draft. Bump drafting's a bit of an art, but we'll get into some of that talk a little bit later on. Uh, want to give a highlight to what you did here tonight. You started back in, I believe, the fifth position, so you had a quick car when you unloaded. You stayed inside the top five all night long. Um, do you think maybe if you came a lap sooner, maybe, but then maybe the fuel wouldn't have worked, maybe a lap later? Anything you could have done?
Ah, not really. I was kind of stuck there because yeah, I couldn't go another lap unless I really saved, but then I would have lost touch with Cody even more. But yeah, I was able to hang with him and save some in that last run, which I needed to do, obviously, since I ran out after we crossed the line. But yeah, no, Cody's he's really good at saving tires, and so I knew he was kind of laying back a little bit too. But yeah, I was trying, believe me.
Well, a hell of a run here tonight, all night long, not just at the end, but all race long. You had a rocket ship out there. Before we let you go and celebrate the rest of the night away, would you like to give any final shout outs, thank yous, love yous?
Yeah, I got to give a big shout out to my lovely wife. Who lets me do this week in and week out, and also my teammates at Lounge Racing. Ed, he's probably on the beach sipping umbrella drinks right now. He wasn't here able to make it this week, but and then Jarrett and Corey Sherman also, and you for doing such a great job with the broadcast. And I know you like the Blackstone Grill, so you have to do some burgers for you sometime, huh?
Oh yeah, you know what? And I'm not joking one bit. We bring a Blackstone to Pocono every Pocono race weekend. A handful of turn three guys. We all get together there. We camp in the infield all weekend long. The Blackstone is the cornerstone of the setup. Whenever I
Yeah,
head to the
yeah, it's
lake house,
awesome.
man, I'm on the Blackstone constantly. I've got one outside here at the house now too, man.
Yeah, me too. I got one sitting out the window here on the patio, waiting
It
for me for this weekend. So
it's it's I don't want to say it's the greatest thing ever, but like it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Besides
really.
smokers, I had to
Yeah,
throw that
yeah,
out there. I mean, I
yeah.
had to throw that. Nothing
Oh,
beats a
and Dunkin'
brisket.
Donuts. I know you love those too.
Oh,
So
absolutely, every single morning. But Gary, man, loved the opportunity to finally have the chance to speak to you here tonight at the end of tonight's race. We hope we get to talk to you again before the end of the season. And the way you've been coming on strong lately, I think we're gonna have that opportunity in. So congratulations, and we'll see how Gateway treats you. Until then, my friend, stay safe, and as always, keep it fast.
all right, thanks, Dave. You have a good one, bud.
All right, there you have it. Final few parting words from that '08 of Gary Bowman. He's going to walk away second here tonight. And again, I the Blackstone's amazing. If you ain't got one, go get one. That's all I'm going to say. You can cook anything on them things. And if you don't think you can, they've got accessories for you to cook ribs on the grill as well. Just saying. Get out of here. We gotta get out of here. We gotta get to victory lane. How about this man right here behind the wheel of that 28 machine? He's no stranger to these post race interviews. We've talked to him multiple times. We've mentioned his race win was around the corner, and he makes us look good now. by getting the job done. Cody, man, how good does it feel to finally seal the deal?
Well, I tell you what, I was thinking about it coming into this race today as well. This is the first race here in the Cyber Pro Cup Series where I came into it and I was kind of feeling a little bit of the pressure. Like, I've been close so many times, and you know, is it gonna happen? I need to finally get it done so that I don't have this feeling kind of creeping up on me. So, big relief to finally get it done, and did my best to channel my inner Jerry Isaacs today.
Well, I mentioned that actually during tonight's broadcast. I was like, man, they're flipping the script. They're changing the game on them. Isaacs with the amazing strategy last week. You guys pulled an amazing strategy. You and your podium competitors all were on pretty much the same strategy within about a lap of each other. So you all were pretty much playing that same game. So all three of you kind of rubbed it in his face a little bit this week. But nonetheless, man, you've been quick every time you show up to the track. Does it... I know we talked about being that championship spoiler. You finally were able to do it. Does it give you that feeling you were expecting that, hey, look, I came in here, not only did I win a race, but I've done it on a championship stage while not in the championship? Does it make it any sweeter? Does it make it a little more hard to swallow, knowing that maybe if you were in the chase, you'd be moving on?
Well, all throughout the races, even the ones that I haven't won so far, kind of coming up to the playoffs and into it, it stung a little bit because I know that I could compete for a spot on the Final Four and see what, you know, happens from there. But finally getting it done in the Cup Series here is definitely a big confidence boost. You know, figuring it out, how to get past some of the Mad Sim guys who are just blazing fast week in and week out has been really cool to run with them. And I mentioned it before, I've learned a lot from being around them. So finally breaking through, getting a good confidence boost, especially since I'm going for the championships in both of the lower series here in Cyber. It'll help for those as well, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know who all runs in there in those particular series, but you can tell them go back. I don't know the timestamp right now on the broadcast, but tell them go to about an hour and 40 minutes in. Y'all boys better be careful, because he coming for you. I'm just saying. I don't know whose feelings are gonna get hurt with that, but Cody, man, every time I've seen you, you've been just a class act. I mean, clean racing, fast, great pit stops. You know how to get the job done. I think they're going to have their hands full. I think they better be playing defensively when it comes to dealing with you and keeping you out of the championship for those series. But I think, again, the confidence that you're going to gain from this here tonight, hopefully next season we can see you in this Cup car chasing after that first championship fully. And I think these drivers here tonight's going to has somewhat proved to them, if they weren't already knowing you are one of the drivers that are going to have to put up with week in, week out. Just an amazing talent. It's been a pleasure watching you all season long, so we're not going to keep you from your celebrating much longer here tonight. Before we let you go and spray the champagne, would you like to give any shout outs? Thank you, love you, maybe thank anybody back home?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks, Dave, for the kind words and for broadcasting these races every Thursday. First and foremost, I just want to say thoughts are with everyone from my hometown in Portage, Michigan. On Tuesday, an EF2 tornado ripped through the center of town and really impacted a lot of people's lives. And fortunately, everyone I know was safe and just barely missed out on it, but definitely been thinking of everyone there all week. I'm no longer living there currently, but it's definitely a scary situation when it hits so close to home. So definitely thinking of them. Other than that, shout out to my wife who's always watching and cheering me on in these races. Shout out to my teammates at Zero Motorsports who run with me on Wednesday, Daryl and Michael. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Well, man, short and sweet and to the point, fast, week in, week out. This ain't the last time we're going to talk. We told you before that win was coming. We were right. You made us look good. Keep making us look good, because I think you're going to keep talking to us at the end of these things. I don't think you're done in the winners column yet either, so put a little mark right there too, and you heard it here first. Cody's gonna be talking to us again from Victory Lane. I can assure you that. But until we meet again, Cody, stay safe, and it won't be any problems for you. But keep it fast.
Thanks, Dave. See you next week.
All right, there you go. Finally into Victory Lane. The weight off the shoulders. The wait is over. Cody Heinzman is a winner in the Pro Cup Series here with Cyber Thunder. You heard it from him going after the championship in two of the lower series here with Cyber Thunder. If you're in those series, if he's anything like he is behind the wheel of this Cup car, y'all are going to have your hands full. Y'all better watch out. You better be careful. You let him into that Final Four. Just saying. Hate me if you want. It is what it is. We call it like we see it. We don't pull punches around here. Everybody knows I say what I say and I mean what I say, and sometimes it rubs people the wrong way. But he's going to be rubbing that championship trophy the right way. He might have it on a pillow next to him, if the wife allows, of course. Cody Heinzman finally into Victory Lane. What a heck of a race. Hell of a night here tonight from Kansas Speedway. Again, flag to flag action here on a Thursday night with the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series. Week in and week out, these drivers never cease to amaze on the clean, strategic racing that they are able to provide week in, week out. If you're looking to rub elbows with them, hit them up on iRacing.com. You can find them over there in the league directory page, the Cyber Thunder Racing Leagues. Check them out. Tell them Dave sent you. Not that it's going to do you any good, but you never know. And there you can hear producers hitting those buttons in the background. You know it's time for us to run down tonight's unofficial race results in the Twisted 200 here with the Cyber Thunder Pro Cup Series. Walking away, first checkered flag of the season belongs to the 28 NOS Energy Drink Machine of Cody Heinzman. Gary Bowman gonna finish in second with Dan Keene. Yet another podium finish for the GoPro 85. Christian Delgado with a good night tonight here at Kansas. He'll finish in fourth. Fifth place tonight belongs to the 64 machine of Cody Richardson. Dave Sanders back in sixth with Jerry Isaacs sliding home in seventh. Andrew Koska picks up eighth with Corey Sherman back in ninth. The 101 of Dave Gainforth gonna finish in 10th here tonight with Judd Danielson in 11th. Donahue gonna pick up 12th, 13th place tonight from Kansas Speedway, the 37 Mobile 1 machine of Ken Lung. Stefan Music and Chris Letts gonna finish out the 15-car field here tonight for the Twisted 200, and that's gonna do it for us. We're gonna begin to cut off the lights and roll up the cords. Head into Gateway for some great racing action just around the corner. I promise you, you're not going to want to miss that one. Final race of round number one. We will set the championship. 8, the great 8, will be decided at the end of next week's race. Hold on to your cap for that. Just an amazing night of racing here tonight. I am sure it's going to be followed up with yet another amazing night of racing at Gateway next Thursday night. Mark it down on your calendars. But before we go, if you haven't already, remember to join us in that continued push to 4,000 subscribers. Show these drivers some love and drop the thumbs up. Click subscribe, smash the bell over there on the right hand side, getting notified anytime we go live here in the Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it's myself, Dave of the Cave, or anybody else back at the headquarters. We do appreciate each and every one of you each and every time you stop by, whether you're sliding in to say hey, or you are one of our dedicated fans, friends, family, or one of our many different sponsors. Big shout out to each and every one of you. Without you, there would be no us. So with that being said, stay safe, Stay loved, my friends, and until next time, we'll meet ya in turn 3.